welcome back to my YouTube channel. So the way that I'm going to sort of plan out my YouTube videos from now is I'm going to go from beginner to intermediate to advanced. And I think that's how I'm going to work it. I'm just going to work it so that it's basically like a step by step. So like in this video today, I'm going to show you how you would thread up your domestic machine rather than an industrial machine, because I will do more videos on my industrial machine. I just want to start from basics, so we're going to start with a domestic. I have currently purchased a new camera, so I will have one camera behind me, shooting from behind me, showing you guys exactly what I am wanting to be showing you. And then I will have one camera in front of me so that it's sort of like this, so you can see while I'm talking to you, and then it will sort of like flicker from one camera to the other, so then you can keep picturing and seeing what technically I'm seeing. So yeah, if you guys stay tuned, you will see how to thread up a domestic machine. Okay, so hey guys, I have basically got my Janome machine here in front of me. So first things first, I'm going to basically show you how you would wind up a bobbin with a domestic. So this is my Janome 216S. I've had this a while now actually. The reason we bought this one is because it was for my younger sister, who still sews. She's still dying for me to teach her how to sew. I am still trying to teach her how to sew, but it can be a little bit difficult sometimes with like school and me working on the weekends. So slowly we're getting into like a little routine of when we can sew together. I'm hoping to do a YouTube video with her soon where we do something together, whether we sew the same thing or yeah, I teach her how to thread up a machine, just things like that. We're still trying to figure them out. First thing I'm going to show you is basically this machine itself. So obviously here you have your backstitch button, so all you do is you just push that down and that will tell your machine to go backwards. I would always do a back stitch when starting a garment and when finishing, sorry, not starting your garment, when starting your seam and when finishing your seam, just because what it does is it locks those stitches in, whereas if you don't do a back stitch then it's more likely that your threads will start to come undone. This dial here is obviously your stitch length, so if you look here it's a bit like a buttonhole, so that is where your buttonhole stitch style is. And then obviously normal stitch is about 2.5, so I tend to try and keep that on about 2.5. And then obviously, so this is, it tells you for you as well, which is quite nice. Obviously that one's length. This one is the selector, so that is entirely up to you of which stitch you want. But if you look here as well, this is obviously all the different stitches that a domestic can do. It's not many, but if you are literally just starting out sewing, then it is perfect for you. All you really need when you just start out sewing is a straight stitch, a zigzag, and either a buttonhole. Get a nice easy domestic one, and I would highly recommend this Janome domestic any day. So obviously this is our stitch selector, so obviously if I turn it to B, then it's a different straight stitch, and then obviously if I start changing it to C, that is a zigzag one. We're going to stay on A today just because we're doing straight stitch. Well, we're not really stitching really, we are mainly focusing on showing you guys how to thread this machine. And then obviously if I turn it to 1, that is the left side of my buttonhole. 2 and 4 is the top bit and the bottom bit of my buttonhole. And then obviously 3 is the right side of my buttonhole. I love doing buttonholes. I mainly do my buttonholes on my Janome Horizon, just because with a domestic you have to make sure that you get the length perfect, because obviously you're the one changing it rather than the machine doing it all for yourself. You're the one that's having to change it. And then obviously up here, this is where we do our bobbin. So I will show you guys how to do that now, and I will show you how to thread it up, how to put your bobbin in. And yeah, that is what this video is going to be mainly about. So I've sort of told you guys how this machine works. So now let's get down to the bobbin stage. As you can see, I have my thread here, which is my trusty Gutermann thread. If you're gonna sew, I'd highly recommend getting a good thread. Sometimes if I'm doing like gathering stitches or anything like that, I will use a cheaper thread, just because at the end of the day it's coming out, it's going in the bin. but anything else I highly recommend working with Gutermann. Strong, it's easy enough to get hold of, and it's not too badly priced, I would say. The bigger ones are obviously a little bit more expensive, but I'd pay, I mean truthfully I pay that little bit more just because I know that this thread is going to work. So when winding a bobbin, we need to put it on either the left one or the right one. Oh, I completely got my left and right mixed up then. On the right one or the left one. So left one, right one. So that is where we are going to put our thread. So if you're doing like a twin needle, obviously you have a thread on the right one and the left one, but as we're just working with one thread today, we're just going to put it on the left one. So it goes on there, and it actually wraps around this little metal, so this bit here, so the thread gets put onto the, this is going to be really tricky with one hand, so the thread gets put onto there and it gets wrapped round this little metal bit here, like that, which then causes the tension for the bobbin. And then we have our trusty bobbin here. So I tend to just use the plastic bobbins. So this is the one that we are using today, is our trusty plastic bobbin. And if you can see, there is a little hole here near my thumb. So what happens is the thread goes through the hole, like so. Oh, if I can stop dropping the bobbin. And I grab onto that piece of thread. And as you can see, it has basically gone through my bobbin. Then what happens is our bobbin comes over here onto this bit here. So it clips onto there and we keep hold of this thread. Then what happens is we push this along like so. So I don't know whether you guys saw that because my finger. So it goes from there to there. Then we have a handle right there at the side of the sewing machine. What happens is this gets pulled out and that just locks that bobbin into place, and that's what tells us, or not tells us essentially, that's what then tells the machine that we need to start doing our bobbin. So then I have my foot on the pedal and I put my foot down. Obviously you can go as slow as you like or you can go as fast as you like. Obviously the faster you go, the quicker it gets wound up. The slower you go, the slower it gets wound up. It literally just winds itself up. I usually, oh, drop the thread. I usually go about a quarter full and then I grab my scissors. So I grab my snips and I chop that thread off. And I try not to chuck it on the floor because I'm trying to be tidy. And then literally just carry on winding the bobbin. It takes a while. Obviously if you're doing, I'm going to keep going because I'm going to show you. The bobbin automatically stops on its own. So if you keep watching, it will eventually tell the machine that it's full and it will stop. Because if you look, I'm putting my foot down, as you can hear, but it's not doing anything. That's because the bobbin is full, so we need to stop. So what we do is we snip our threads with our scissors and we push our bobbin back in like that, and then we go down to the side thing here and we click that back. There we go. So we've clipped our bobbin back out, so we literally lift our bobbin off of there and now our bobbin is back in our hand. So I'm just going to put that to one side. Thanks for that, mate. Done. I'm trying to film. We're now going to focus on actually threading our machine up. So as you can see, we have our thread already up here because we've just wound a bobbin. We take our thread like this and it actually clips round this hook part here. Some machines will have arrows and like steps, like 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so on. Some have arrows, but some don't really. Mine do, they're only very small, but yeah, they sort of shows you where to go, but some usually have like numbers as well, so that you know that you're going in the right direction at the right time. And then what happens is it goes all the way down this channel, as you can see. So it goes down this channel, and as you can see there is an arrow here which is telling us to basically go back up. So we go round, we go back up the machine. It's really hard with one hand. Go back up the machine, and you guys can't see because obviously you're on the camera, but you can, oh yeah you can, there's another hook here. It has to go around this hook. You can't not let it go around the hook, otherwise the tension doesn't work. Some hooks click because there's like a little thing that you pull it through that then like clips it into place. Some don't, so you just literally have to make sure that it's round that hook. And then what happens is it goes back down the channel and then clips under this part here. So it goes under there like so, and then there's another like little hook here that you guys can see, and it goes round there, and then basically then goes through your needle. That is your top half all threaded, and then I always just put my threads towards the back anyway so they're out of the way. So as you can see here, this is our like bobbin casing. It's not actually being put back in properly. You can tell because you can see that I'm spinning it from side to side. So the bobbin casing isn't actually clipped in properly. Whereas now you can see it is, because I'm not able to spin it from side to side. So the way to get the bobbin casing out is to flick this part up, and you can see that that bobbin is now coming out. Oh, there's an actual bobbin inside. Always handy. Okay, so this is our bobbin casing. Excuse the nail. This is what our bobbin casing looks like. So it's literally just a little metal round thing. So what happens here is the bobbin gets put inside like that, and the thread comes round on itself. You can see there's a little gap here. So what happens is the thread gets clipped into there, comes round here and gets clipped up into that bit. You'll hear like the tiniest little click, and that means it's back into place. That means your bobbin's in place and it's ready to go. As you can see here on the bobbin casing, there's this little sticky out bit. So in the sewing machine itself, you can see here that there's a little rounded edge that looks like a little tunnel. That needs to match up, so it gets put onto here. That needs to match up with that part, and you'll hear it click, and that is your bobbin set in place. Then what we do is we zoom out a little bit. So we grab our thread from our needle, we hold that at the back. Make sure you keep hold of this, because this is how we're now going to get our bobbin thread to the top of the sewing machine. And what we do is we use the handle to basically do a stitch. See, there's the thread coming through, you can see it here. So that is our like needle thread. So when we keep pulling that through, it will cause a loop, and then we will be able to pull our bobbin thread up and through to the top of the sewing machine, which is that thread that you can see here. So that is our bobbin thread. So that gets pulled out. Pull it out a little bit just so you've got a bit of thread. Tuck them behind again. Push that in. Put that back on, and you're ready to go. That is your machine fully set up. Stitch on Select-A for straight stitch, and 2.5 for your stitch length. I think that's all you guys need to know about how to thread up your domestic, how to wind a bobbin on your domestic. If you are looking for a simple domestic machine, definitely go for the Janome 216S, which is this one. This is my Janome 216S. So if you're looking for a simple domestic machine, I'd highly recommend getting one of these. So that is what machine I would personally get if you're just starting out sewing, or if you're looking for a sewing machine for your child. I'd highly recommend getting one of these. The only thing about this domestic is there is no like speed control, so it's literally just a case of you are having to trust your foot. So yeah, I would highly recommend getting one of these machines. But I think that is it for this video. I've shown you guys how to thread it up, how to wind the bobbin, all the different stitches, your back stitch button, the inside of it. Yeah, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know I have enjoyed filming it. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed filming it, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Bye!